because there's so much to say. I'm just going to do a quick video now, because there's like I said, there's so much to say in this movie here that if I just start talking, the symbolisms and the things probably won't be as profound. If I can just show you two things right now, considering what you've learned, even over the last 3 years, 3+ years on this channel, and what you've learned as of late, comparatively, and how it all unfolds. So in this scene right here, we have somewhat of a short life of a girlfriend that Ben Thomas, who's under the name Ben Thomas, impersonating the name Ben Thomas, which is interesting because that's what I said, they're using Benjamin as a symbolism to apply to these African Americans. And then as you see it, they're going to get one of their own, and that's Will Smith. He even says he was raised in Oakland. You know, that's raised with the Aryan schoolings, of course, the mystery schoolings. But as you can see in the movie, they play him, and he becomes the sacrifice. And it all is going to hinge on proving the spirit of truth as genuine in the sight that it's given me, with this understanding of how this sacrifice suicide takes place. And it's with something called a box jellyfish. You heard that right. Remember Benjamin, and then we have Ben-JAMIN. Second phrase of the word. Ben-JAMIN. Jam is jelly. And as in other words, that's peanut butter in jelly time. Right? So, the box jellyfish is the method in which, working with this man named Dan, this is how this suicide pact, this sacrifice of Ben Thomas unfolds. The sacrifice, aka of Benjamin, of which the symbolism to the African American is being applied, in which they're unknowing that they've been selected for the privilege of sacrifice. So if it's the box jellyfish, that's a twofold symbol. You know what jelly is, the symbolism for Ben-JAMIN. And I told you it connected to something called peanut butter and jelly time, where you saw in Family Guy the crooked animation, satanic to its core, evil to its core, making a laugh and a joke at other people's hardships and deceptions that they forced upon them. Well, you see Brian gets in a nana suit, and as you see right here, I've got it paused on the movie where it says, banana peels, who knew? Well, I'll tell you who knows. It's the spirit of truth. You guys look at me and you're thinking that this is what you see. Don't judge a book by its cover. Seeing what you see. Seeing what you're going to see. But of course, as I said, my Father is long standing in mercy, and He has already admonished, do unto others as you'd have done unto you. If it's good enough for others, it must be good enough for you. Are you ready to test that law? You ready to test it? Or are you one that's just been continuing the cycle of its misconception, its misunderstanding, its deception, its treachery, and its lie, like a cancer that has spread over this earth, still seeking vengeance over top of the souls of men that have already long since passed, and then passing that judgment to the children in this time? Woe to to the idle shepherd who shall leaveth his flock. Of course, this Benjamin represents one of their flock. He grew up in Oakland. Will Smith, taught to be a fresh prince of Bel Air. Bel Air as in Prince, Immortal Satan, Lord of the powers of the air, the Aryans. They're not treating this man very fair. So as you remember Brian in Family Guy, what does he do? There's a very peculiar moment in one of the episodes. I'm sure you can find it on a YouTube clip. And Brian, the dog, the white dog, gets inside of a full-size banana suit and goes across the screen with all of this bravado, with all of this seeming fun and enthusiasm, chanting, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time. Where he at? There he go. Where he at? There he go. Peanut butter jelly time. Now you already know what the jelly time is now, because it's the Ben-Jamin time, as in jamming Ben up, jamming the Benjamites up, causing them to slip on these banana peels. And you will see that said in here, that he slipped up. And it's all in connection to this aeronautics engineering life that he could have had, being a part of these tribes going to and fro, up and down all over the earth. I'm not kidding you. He's an aerospace engineer in here. And at one point, I'm going to bring you to, for this video closes in just a few moments, the actor here, I think that's Rosario Dawson. She asked him what he did, and he said he was an engineer. She said, what type? And he said, the type that wanted to send people to the moon. Nana is a derivative of Inanna, which is a Babylonian Sumerian name for Ishtar, and even in relationship to the moon of even other deities outside of Ishtar, but yet are all sort of an overlay of each other. Of course, as I said, in one account, Ishtar is Sin's spouse, and then in another account, Ishtar is Sin's daughter. You should know Ishtar as Venus, and then now you should understand the connection with the name 7 pounds within the fractal, because 7 is an anagram for Venus. Just the secondary E is not the U, but it still could be pronounced the same, Venus. V-E-N-E-S, Venus. And then the Venus pounds. Well, of course, this is this selection of the sacrifice to Venus. So the banana peel now represents the moon, in which the code of the movie will verify, and then the code will be verified for what I've already revealed, with the connection with what Brian is saying as he's chanting in his enthusiastic tone about the murder of others, peanut butter jelly time. That's America. Yeah, or at least that's what America's become. But it's not us as Americans, but that's what we're taught from what we think is America, which is really just the U.S., which they like to call themselves us. They see we, I and I, as them. And in all reality, as I said, it's entirely them. And you can even see that in the beginning of Psalms 7. So the banana peel here, we'll get to the box jellyfish here in a moment, the box portion of it. But just to keep you understanding here, what the scene at least is portraying, she's walking by a woman who has not had good luck with her flowers. She's not had good luck with her garden. And Rosario says something to her like, they're looking so nice. And she goes, banana peels. Who knew? Banana peels. That's what she used. That's what she sacrificed to her flowers to make her garden, her golden age, her Osiris, Orion, the green man, flourish again. It took that blood of the Gentiles. You know? Within their 10 commands, thou shalt not kill, it's permissible under Yahweh when he says you can kill Gentiles. So anybody watching this video for the first time, you need to instantly research the tribe of Benjamin, the connection to the affiliation genetically with the left hand, and then the connection with the right hand of the father, which represents the right hemisphere of the brain, which represents them having a creative intellectuality that, of course, those that sought to dominate in a system needed to suppress to put them in slavery. Exactly right. So the nanas, where are you at? There you go. It's peanut butter jelly time. So what's the peanut butter with the scenario? Peanut butter has a very peculiar color. It has the color of brown men. Because we know most black men really aren't the color black. They're the color brown. And then that color brown is perfectly the almost exact same shade as peanut butter. Now, peanut butter and a box, and almost always when you think of a box, you think of a cardboard box, and a cardboard box is the exact same color as peanut butter. But the box is the real code. It's just the fractal code fractivates between the variable constants, even the consequential constants of the doctrine that begin to equate themselves along the same fractal path, the same equatable path of travel. So it's very easy to put it together once you're in contact with the spirit, and you can begin to work line upon line, here a little, there a little, precept upon precept upon precept. So the box now is the cube, and who this man has been made to believe that he is Jack. And this is where we get Jack in the Box, where you get the jesters. And then, of course, there's so many of these other individuals on the Caucasian side playing jesters outright to the public, making these guys feel better because they seem to be getting all these interesting roles, at least Will Smith is, that is looking positive, as in a positive platform for the African populace to view themselves. You know, his Hancock superhero thing, but look at the type of superhero he was in Hancock. All of that is completely relative. You know what? There's something in there with the daggone banana and Hancock. There's something in there with him and the banana with the Hancock. You know where the banana comes into play? It comes into play with Simeon. Simeon is what you get with the context with gorillas. It's the species genus that you would consider gorillas. And it is connected with, of course, primates, and connected with what you would also consider the entirety of the family of apes. Simians are considered mildly retarded. Absolute fact. Simians are considered mildly retarded. I don't know if they will outright give you that in any of these Google's searches that you could do, but I can give you the information. I can give it to you credibly. And then we will take this light retardation and we will bring it back to Scootsy's Doubleday's brother, who they said had all three forms of major retardation, now which is calling the Africans retarded. Along with what Facebook said the other day on CNN, that you can't change your Facebook color. And what they said is because you get a virus. And what they basically are saying is that these guys are a virus, because they got that color, which is connected with Benjamin, that has that profound skin tone where the Bible says, can the Benjamite change his skin? But I remember something, and I think it comes out the New Testament. It might even be the words of Jesus Christ, where he says the leopard cannot change his spots. Wow. And these guys ain't the leopard. These guys ain't the leopard. That would be the leopard king that is in relationship to the moon, which is now in relationship to leprosy, which is now in relationship to all those scars upon the moon's face, which will now go back to the guardians of Gahu. And then the evil owl faction is wearing a metal mask over his face to hide what? His nose. What is leprosy most commonly associated with? The falling off of body parts. Most importantly, in my mind, symbolically, it has almost always been portrayed with the nose. Therefore, the leper king, aka leopard king, that spotted one, with many of his transgressions, of course, is the symbolism for the moon. And then Jesus Christ has called him out. The leopard can't change his spots. But the question for the Benjamite, can he change his skin? Absolutely. Change the conditional environment, then you change the attunement to it. Anybody ready to go to an intellectual battle? A genetic battle? An anthropological battle? A historical battle? Maybe you might already be in it. But really it's called spiritual battle. And there ain't nothing that you're going to be able to do that's going to be able to overcome these words or resist them. As prophecy has been foretold, I got the keys. I got the keys to the real kingdom, and I'm giving them out freely for all that can receive. If you want to keep receiving this bullshit that these men plan on doing, deceiving their supposed brothers and brethren, and then mocking and laughing at everybody because they can't figure it out, and then here's the spirit of truth, which is standing up and telling them, we got it, we know it, and we got Benjamin's back. You make that move, and you're going to suffer the repercussions of it. If it's good enough for Benjamin, it's going to be good enough for you. You know what I mean? I don't think you do. Maybe some of you are beginning to find out. So now we go back to the box, and that would be Jack in the Box, and of course who they're really ultimately making the jesters. But let's not forget one important focal point. Remember how large that number is. It just don't mean because you're Aryan you're getting in. It don't mean because you're white you're getting in, because you own a company or a business or a part of a lodge or have ascended to the 32nd degree. It don't mean you're getting in. But it does help keep these people at bay when it gives these high Caucasians and Aryans and these privileged people something to focus on of who is getting left out, so they feel better that it ain't them. But I'll tell you, the same code runs against you guys. The same code with the banana and the banana peel and the anana and the moon and the wages of sin is death and the working for the sacrifice of this. All of this is working to the fulfillment of what Jesus Christ said, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Just in this time, the repercussion is felt within the lifespan of the people that have rode the repercussional wave of this destructive momentum into this point here. It happens within your lifespan. This is where it reaches that rocky shore, that erosive shore of non-loving, compassionate truth that you guys have created by your violent, chaotic waves, trying to change everything, which in all reality you have only eroded your very own future shore of happiness. I can promise you that. That's what's going to happen to you if you are a part of this and you continue to mock me, and you continue to mock these brothers, and then you continue to plot against me and work with these men to seek my demise. I tell you, you are as fervently working for your own demise as you're working for mine. The power that I got is not my own, but I've been given the power to wield it. I have seen and I know things that you guys have only fantasized about, and all in the wrong, perverted way. I got real experience with this truth. As you can see, I got the faith to wield the sword. As long as you got the faith to wield the sword, you got the shield too. So, if we take the box, they turn him into the Jack in the Box, which turns him into the jester, which they've been mocking the whole time and setting up for sacrifice. Setting up for sacrifice. So, I'm going to try to keep this video around the 20-minute marker, and that should have been powerful. She's about to collapse. I'm trying to get to the point where they have the dinner, and I'm going to stop it on where he says he wants to send people to the moon. The blind white guy with the very, very blue eyes, what is his name? Woody Harrelson. Remember we saw Woody Harrelson on Semi-Pro, huh? And think about the name Woody again, why it's so key in this, because of the Twiggy in the wood that's being lifted up. And then think about Harrelson and the connection to the hairy ones, and I already told you about the synthesis between Enkidu and Gilgamesh. You get me? Connection with Samson. These are the Samsons, but we see the remnant of the Samsons. They're depicting them as blind. They're not seeing the big picture, but yet they're saying that they're still going to try to take care of them through this sacrifice. That way they won't be blind any longer through the Benjamites. And of course, you see he's going to give him his eyes. There's our box jellyfish. So in other words, everybody lives because the Benjamite dies. And as you can see, they're tricking the Africans within the organization to impersonate the Benjamites without their knowing, and then all the symbolism goes with it, which is now giving them that free will of choice for that action. But it's being done through deception, but yet they seek to justify it because their free will of choice doing it by the corruption of the by the corruption of the doctrine that leads them into it. Woe unto you, Babylon. I'm serious. I never imagined that. You know, I was thinking that you guys might have softened your racial stance a little bit and begin to accept some love in your heart. Even though you were heavily occultic, even though you were satanic, I was starting to believe at least you still could find love for all portions of humanity. Respect the diversity that you say that you do, but in all reality you don't. You want conformity. And that conformity is corrosive. Continually corrosive. It is the cancer that has eaten the joy, the love, the compassion, the light of this world away, and turn everybody's hearts dark and cold against each other based upon nationalities and colors and historical stories that are taken out of context due to the majority of purely fanatical, fictitious mythologies based upon genetic pride heritage that has been nurtured into such a rage of real cowardice hiding behind altruism that I'm completely dismayed. I'm blown away. And I'm honored. I welcome the day that you come for me. I welcome the day that this begins to unfold. I welcome the day that I have the opportunity to stand before you guys in your judgment. And I'm going to stand proud. And I'm going to stand tall. And I'm going to be ready to give it. There's the box jellyfish. You will never hear words. You've never imagined the words. That words have had so much power. You say sticks and stones may break the bones, but words will never hurt you. Well, you're going to be changing that one around after you deal with me. If you're still dealing with the devil as your truth, I'm most certainly with words. I'm going to bring it down. You're all about vibration. You're all about energies, right? What are words? What did Jesus Christ say? Out of the abundance of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, goeth forth the treasure out the mouth. That's right. What's in your heart? You got coldness? The Father don't have coldness against nobody. Your fanatical fantasy God Yahweh does. And then you're justified because it's a dead letter and it's written and it's got some special names beside it with some special institutions. And then you carry on the plan. You carry on the serpent. You carry on the eating of its own kind because you cannot figure out what's real because you're in a house of effing mirrors. I know it's real. And I am easily standing up for it. And because of that simple faith as a child, trusting in a loving Father who loves all, I've been given the keys to the kingdom. And I tell you, he says that the saints are going to have the power to judge in these last days. All of you who have stood against me by name and person, you better believe. You better believe I have a powerful task ahead of me. You better believe it. But my heart is true. And my love is pure. I'm not pure, but my love is. And I can guarantee you that I can forgive eternally, forever, everyone.